So, High School Musical took a page out of this movie's book with all of the events occurring on the same day at the same time, huh?
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe this wasn't the first movie to do that either.
What? No, I'm
Yeah,
sure it was.
oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sorry. Sorry, rewind. I said that wrong. I'm sure this was the first movie ever to do that.
This was the original High School Musical, if you will, in the same way that Camp Rock was the next High School Musical.
Okay, no. How about no? How about we just love High School Musical and this movie is fine and Camp Rock is great, but in its own universe? And let's start the episode. Okay, bye. Welcome, fellow Disney Channel babes, whether you're from the nostalgic 90s
Or the awkward aughts.
or you're giving Gen Z. We're glad that you're here.
I'm Gabriella.
And I'm Natalie, and this is the podcast where we rave
And sometimes roast.
classic Disney Channel original movies.
You're listening to Once Upon a DCOM. Hello and welcome to Once Upon a DCOM, the podcast where we take you down memory lane and talk about all of our favorite Disney Channel original movies. My name is Gabriella. I'm here with my friend Natalie. How you doing today, Natalie?
So good. Every day is so good that we get to record this podcast.
I love recording this podcast. It's one of my favorite things that I do in life. I'm so grateful that you came to me and were like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? It's this generation's version of Do You Want to Start a Band?
Obviously, yes.
Yep. So in every episode of Once Upon a DCOM, we're going to talk about one DCOM for the week. We are not doing them in chronological order. We talk about what our favorite points were, what was ridiculous about them, where the stars are now, and what the critics and audience thought about it. So that's what you have to look forward to in this episode. So this week, we watched a movie called Go Figure, which I'm told by Natalie is actually like a cult classic.
I would not say cult classic. I would say it's definitely a movie that people remember. Like if you watched it, you were like, oh yeah, go figure.
Yes. Okay. So I hadn't watched it, but Nick had, and he definitely had that reaction.
Yeah, it was one of those movies, that everyone like is like, oh yeah, I remember watching that. Or and I mentioned it to my husband Chase. He was like, oh yeah, that movie. You can watch it without me.
Nick was like, it's the one with the math. And I was like, I don't think so. It's like about figure skating, I think. And he was like, no, there's math in it.
And
there was indeed
it was the
math.
one with the math.
So he remembered it. All right, just so you have some background behind this film before we jump into our recap. This movie came out in 2005. It was actually the very next DCOM to come out right after Kim Possible, which is hilarious because we reviewed Kim Possible last week.
I know, totally a weird happenstance, but it was kind of funny when I found that out.
Yeah. It was directed by Francine McDougall, which is the most fantastic name. And she
It's
also
very
directed...
Irish and or Scottish of you.
Yes, it is.
McDougall.
I'm surprised she didn't direct Luck of the Irish. She did, however, direct Cowbells, which came out in 2006. And honestly, not much else, which is surprising to me because they are both, in my opinion, so good, this movie and Cowbells. Such amazing, strong female icon movies. And that's it for her. Oh, you disagree?
Interesting. We'll talk about that later.
About what? Cowbells being good or this movie being good?
I did not enjoy either.
What? Oh, I just came in assuming we both like this movie, but this is going to be fun if we both disagree.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, please continue.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's about to get interesting. Okay. So, all right. Well, the tagline for this movie is she shoots, she scores, she accessorizes, which pretty much sums it up. Yeah. It guest stars the real-life Olympic gold medalist Christy Yamaguchi, which is pretty cool. And Disney planned for Go Figure to be hugely successful. They were planning on releasing a DVD, which was, the pinnacle of success in 2005. But it did not live up to expectations. So even though some people find it memorable, it's not, it's not in most people's rotation of old DCOMs. It's not getting a lot of Halloween costumes.
That would be so cool if someone did this for Halloween.
I think so. Especially if they did the hockey skate look with the little pink leotard. That would actually be a great one.
That would be very fun. I'm sure there were some people who would get it. Our age, there would be some people who would get it.
Right. All right, Natalie. Well, why don't you tell us what happens in this movie?
For sure. Here we go. All right, so talented figure skater Caitlin dreams of being an Olympic champion, but she knows that she can't do that without leveling up her coaching. So, after one of her competitions, a famous Russian skating coach named Natasha offers Caitlin a chance to train under her, but only if she attends the boarding school where Natasha coaches. Caitlin's parents can't afford the tuition, but Natasha works up this plan with the hockey coach. Caitlin can attend the school on a hockey scholarship. Caitlin struggles to juggle hockey, skating, and academics at this school. You know, the skate club girls resent her talent, while her hockey teammates see her as an outsider and like uncommitted to the sport. And in their defense, they're completely right. She's not good at hockey and she has no interest in trying to get better. So, like, they shouldn't be mean about it, but also I completely understand where they're coming from. All that plus the assistant coach, who is also a student. I did not realize that till later, but it's a
Oh,
good thing he is a student assistant coach because
yes.
otherwise that would be weird. Anywho, the student assistant coach Spencer is constantly chastising Caitlin, and he openly tries to get her to quit the team because he thinks that she's bad for the team.
Yeah, he's a little rude. And by a little,
Yeah,
I
he's
mean
a
a
lot
lot.
rude. He's a lot rude. Let's be
He's pretty
honest.
horrible.
Yeah, but very handsome. Okay, anyway.
True.
Soon she is flailing at this new school. You know, she's getting bullied by the skate club girls. She's getting bad grades. She's getting into fights with the hockey team. She takes a bus back home and just feels completely out of place. But after a talk with her mom, where Caitlin finds out that her mom used to be a figure skater too, she's encouraged not to give up, even when the challenges she faces seems overwhelming. So back at school, Caitlin fully commits. She improves her grades. She spends extra hours practicing hockey and skating, and she starts to see the improvements. And even Spencer starts to notice her new focus and kind of admires her for it, changing his tune from earlier in the film, where he was honestly just being a real jerk.
Yeah, noted. He's awful.
Caitlin's efforts lead the hockey team to this winning streak, and they make it to finals. Yay! But oh no, finals are the same day as the figure skating senior nationals. What?
No, that's the first time that's ever been done.
You know, she doesn't know which one is more important to her, but ultimately, Caitlin chooses the hockey game. She and the team lose by 1 point, but instead of everyone getting angry at Caitlin for missing the final shot, they're actually really proud of her for showing up and making it through the whole season. While all of this was happening, Spencer got a call from Caitlin's little brother telling him that he is delaying the senior nationals competition with a robot. If you want to know, you have to watch the movie. And that Spencer has to get Caitlin across town so she can get there in time to skate. Spencer hands off all her figure skating equipment, but in the process, her bag falls open for the whole hockey team to see that she is one of the, quote, twirl girls. She runs away in embarrassment, thinking her whole team hates her for keeping this from them and for being a figure skater instead of a true blue hockey player. She makes it to the competition, but she realizes she's missing one of her ice skates. She must have dropped it back at the hockey arena, so she decides to skate in her hockey skates and immediately falls at the beginning of her routine. Clearly, that was not a good idea. But then she sees her hockey team arrive with her missing skate. The judges allow her to start again. She nails her routine and she earns a spot on the US Olympic team. Her hockey teammates are overjoyed for her, and the movie ends with Caitlin proud of herself for all the work she put in and how it paid off, but also for finally making some real friends who actually like her.
Good job, Caitlin. You did it.
You did it, girl. You discovered the true meaning of Christmas or something like that. Oh, and I guess I should add Spencer's not a jerk anymore, and they kind of sort of have a little romance going on, kind of, sort of. But also, she's 14 and he's probably like 18, so it's a little bit weird, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I feel like I should go first since I have a positive take and then you can rip me apart. Does that sound good?
Sure. I love it.
I
Go
loved
for it.
this movie.
And I'm happy you did.
I thought it was really well done. I actually thought there was mostly good acting from everyone, especially the little brother.
Okay, yes.
Yes, he was good. But I felt like it was well executed. It knew exactly what it was, and it was not trying to be anything else. It focused on what mattered in the film. The pacing was decent. It cut to the parts that I actually cared about. It didn't waste time. I mean, there was definitely some cheesy moments where I was like, "Oh my gosh." But like overall, I was like, this feels less DCOM-y than I thought it would, which maybe is a point against it since it is a DCOM. But I was like, this is well done. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed that she made a choice at the end to choose the hockey team. Like, yes, she still got to compete, but it was because of the love of her family and her friends. And I was like, wow, it wasn't this just like, let's do a convoluted plan so you can do both. She was like, nope, I'm gonna make the hard decision and actually choose something here. And she did. And
That sounds like you're calling out High School Musical, and I don't appreciate it.
I'm not. I'm not. It's just that has been done so many times where they're in any DCOM. It's like, what if we re-rig the entire system and no one ever has to make a hard choice? And I appreciated that this movie was like, make the hard choice. This is life. And then she was rewarded for that. And I liked that there was like little things thrown in about like her coaches from back home and her mom's figure skating dress that she wore at the end, and even like there was payoffs throughout that I was like, oh wow, like this movie like tied all the loose ends up, which DComs don't often do, right? So like at the beginning she realizes that she can't do as much in her hockey skates because they don't have picks, and then at the end the reason she falls in the competition is because her hockey skates don't have picks, and she just like brushes it off so fast. She's like, whatever, you win some, you lose some. This is my life. I got to keep moving on and, being joyful and whatever. And I just liked that they paid that off so late into the movie. So yeah, there was a lot of moments like that. And like, even like, this is so dumb, but like at first I was really frustrated by her mom. I thought her mom was the absolute worst. But then when we find out her mom's backstory, it makes a lot more sense. And also, like, when she wrote figure skating junk on the box, I was like, now what is wrong with you, DCOM? This is ridiculous. You did not need to write junk on the box. You could have just put figure skating. But then you realize it's like her junk. And that was like a therapeutic emotional moment for the mom to get rid of her old figure skating stuff. And I was like, oh, like every time I had a moment where I was like, that's stupid, they ended up like bringing it back and making it better. So, for example, also when the coach is like, oh, the whole team is getting really good, when Caitlin starts getting good, I was like, that's so stupid that he's like, oh, the whole team is great now. And everyone's doing a great job. And it was like, really? It's only Caitlin, though. And then Spencer points that out. He's like, she's our secret weapon. If she's not here, we're not good enough. So, like, we need her around. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for, like, recognizing exactly what I was upset about. So, anyways, I felt like it was really well done. Please tell me why I'm wrong.
First off, I agree with all of your points. Like,
oh,
yeah, no, the pacing was great. The character growth, specifically of Caitlin, was really nice. I agree. They tied up a lot of loose ends in a way that DCOMs don't always do. Despite all of that, I thought this movie was ridiculously boring, ridiculously bad
oh,
acted, and so, like, I guess predictable is not the right word, but like so cookie cutter that none of it kept my attention.
really?
Really.
Wow, I found it so refreshing because they just showed what I thought to be more like real life. You don't feel like that?
I I was almost a little bit offended by the portrayal of hockey girls and ice skating girls, like how like stereotypical it made them, and that those specific stereotypes to me made it not believable.
Interesting. Even after they evolve throughout the film, because at the beginning, I agree with you, yes. But towards the end, you have the nuance of the one figure skating girl who's like too old and she's struggling with her age, and then she ends up walking away from it all. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then,
But that's unrealistic. Like, I can understand her saying like, it's whatever, I'm over it, I'm going to find out that there's more to life than figure skating, but it is unrealistic that they would call her name at the Olympic trials, basically that's what this is, and not skate on the ice, at least for the opportunity to be in the Olympics. No 17-year-old is making that decision who has
I
worked their
agree with
whole
you there.
life to get there. Like, that's not realistic.
I agree with you on the point that that's not realistic. The point I was trying to make is that it shows some character nuance to her, and she's not just your stereotypical ice skatey girl. And the hockey girls, I feel like, evolve a lot too.
I don't think they do. I think that they're nicer to Caitlin, but I don't think there's any character change in them.
Well, maybe not character change. Maybe they don't evolve. That was the wrong word. We get to see that there's more to them than just mean stereotypical hockey girl, and they're not all tomboys. Like her roommate, especially, I think her nickname was like Hollywood. Like she has all these girly things in her room that she loves, and she's got like cute outfits and stuff. And like I don't know, I felt like at first they were portraying them all as tomboys, and then you kind of find out that like the one is really into like magic and the other one is, I don't know, into other stuff. And it just felt like they were a little bit more fleshed out. They didn't change, but they had like parts of their life that were not just hockey.
Yeah, I so disagree with you though. I want to know what the listeners think. Like, do you like let settle this argument between me and Gabby? What do you think of the characters in this movie? Not
Yes,
Caitlin, because Caitlin does have excellent character growth, but literally everyone else. That's what I want to hear about.
I would like to hear as well. I do think also this is the point for the movie for me. They didn't feel the need to make it an ensemble cast. And we've talked about that in a
Correct.
previous movie, which I don't remember which one we talked about this
I
before,
feel like we
but
talked about it in Zombies.
possibly. Or actually, I think it was Lizzie McGuire, our pilot episode.
Oh,
We talked
maybe.
about if they remade it today, it would be a fully ensemble film because everything today is an ensemble. Every single character has to have an arc and depth and growth. And I kind of liked that this was like all these side characters, one beat, they're just existing in Caitlin's world because she's the main character. And I kind of like that because it helped me to focus in on what the movie was trying to say. But yeah, no, I can see your point. I just disagree with you.
I can also see your points, but I disagree.
That's fine. That's fine. I thought it was really well done.
I sitting here thinking about it, I have come to another layer of why I probably don't like this movie.
Okay.
And that is, in general, I don't really love sports movies. That's probably
Mm.
why. And I think it's just because I am not I'm not a very athletic sporty person. I don't know if you could tell that from the everything about me, but I have always had a complex relationship with team sports. I don't really like the toxicity of sports coaching in particular, and I feel
I
like
can
that
agree with
is
that.
seen like in this movie. Even the hockey coach, who's supposed to be, a fantastic nice guy, is yelling at teenage girls on the ice, and that just rubs me the wrong way, because in theater you would never speak to a child like that. You would never scream. If you're a good director, I should clarify, you should
I
never
was
be
gonna say,
screaming. You don't scream encouragement at people. That's not encouraging to me. Why are you yelling? And so I feel like maybe that's an element already against it before I even started the movie, that I just don't like sports movies.
okay, I can 1,000% back you on I hate toxic coaching. And this is an argument I've had with like every man in my life. They all think it's helpful or not so bad. And I'm just like, it's awful. So I agree with you there. I hated the coach. He was my least favorite character of them all. Um,
I wanted to like him.
yeah, he had his moments, but ultimately I was like, all of your motivations are terrible. You're just trying to like get with this Russian coach.
Yeah, and the Russian coach was like, I appreciate that she was like encouraging. She's like, "You're going to be a star. You're so excellent. You do things so well." But then also, she's like, when Caitlin is late because she's been locked in a closet by the bullies to her like coaching session, she doesn't even let Caitlin explain. Like, she's just like,
Yeah.
I see how it is. You're not dedicated enough. I'm like, what the heck? No.
So the coach, the Russian coach, Natasha, I think, she was also my least favorite character. The hockey coach was my least favorite because I thought he was ridiculous and rude. She was my least favorite because I was like, pick a side lady. She was the only one I thought was
Yeah.
a terrible actress, or just maybe just poorly written, is a better way, because on the one hand, I'm like, you can either be mean Russian coach, in which case, sure, don't let her explain why she was late. But then don't be picking her as your absolute favorite, who you're calling this gold medalist to come and train with. Like, she's either your favorite and she's getting special treatment, which is one level of realistic, or you're just awful all the time to everyone, which is another level of realistic. But the back and forth made no sense to me. And like at the end, how she's like cheering for her, I'm like, you're like too soft for how you've been portrayed as this
Yeah.
like dictator coach that's going to get you to the Olympics. Also, I just felt like it went really fast on the track to the Olympics, but maybe
Oh,
that's
for
just because
sure.
I don't know figure skating.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I do want to say, let's rewrite this movie real quick. I think it would
Oh,
be fun if the Russian coach was horrible, right? And she like fires her as a coach and her mom becomes her figure skating coach.
ooh, that would be fun.
That would be fun, right?
And then we can explore the mother daughter relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like there was a lot more there to be unmined, which was just devastating to me that the mom was portrayed so awful for so long. Because by the time that she came around, I had a bad taste in my mouth about her.
Yeah, and then that's basically the last you see of her. I mean, she's like in the stands for the skating, but she doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. That would be a better movie.
Yeah.
One last thought. I actually liked the use of narration in this, unlike in Zombies. And y'all know I love zombies, but that weird breaking the fourth wall nonsense they did was absurd. This, I felt like, kind of carried it well. And I actually appreciated it because she wasn't breaking the fourth wall. There was just an element of narration. And I kind of liked it, but I'm curious, did you hate it? Did you like it?
I
Did you
didn't,
hate it?
I didn't really have a strong opinion either way. Um, it reminded me of Cadet Kelly, where I was like, it's a little diary entry type of situation, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't mind, but I was kind of like, whatever.
So I decided not to bring it up, but now I'm going to. I was thinking earlier when you were talking about how the characters were so like one dimensional and the way that they were portrayed so stereotypically.
I already know what you're
I
gonna say.
feel like you know where I'm going with this. I feel like it's another instance of Cadet Kelly where she is the one telling the story. And so as she first enters the school, of course they're all stereotypes because they're all stereotypes to her. And then as she gets to know them, we get to know them. And that's why you meet them as just like mean tomboy hockey players and mean figure skate girls. And by the end, you're like, oh, they all have fleshed out personalities now. They all have other interests. And I think that's because we're walking with her through the movie. Maybe also why her mom turns into one of the best characters after being one of the worst characters. The only ones that wouldn't apply to is like her brother. I feel like he's an exception to that rule. So it's not a concrete, thing, but it did make me think about that.
I also think her brother either needed a bigger storyline or a smaller storyline. I feel like it was in this weird middle ground where he didn't get enough screen time, but then like we could have cut him and we would have had the same movie, you know?
Yes, I do agree with that. Although I love that actor and I thought he did a great
Oh,
job,
I
so
do
I'm
too.
glad he
Love
had
that
as
actor.
much. Yeah, yeah, he was pretty great. But no, I agree. He should have had more or just not been there at all.
Yeah.
That's all I had for discussion points. I think we can move on to public opinion because I'm curious to know what other people thought.
Yeah, for sure. So we are over on Rotten Tomatoes, and like most early DCOMs, there is no tomato meter, which is the critic score. There was only one critic review, which I will
Hmm.
read a portion of for you now. Um, this woman also, I'm just going to read it. We'll talk about it after. All right.
Okay.
Tween sports dramedy teaches the importance of friendship. And then on the subject of stereotypes, there are some troubling stereotypes, including a cliche Russian character, gender difference between girls on hockey and skating teams, and the only non white character performing magic blessings. So I thought these things before I read this review, and I'm glad that I am affirmed in thinking there was a lot of stereotypes and a little bit of racism in there. But
Yup.
yeah, the first time that, what is her name? Mimi Mojo? Mojo?
Mojo.
Yes.
Literally, her nickname is Mojo.
Yes.
Maybe her real name. I don't know.
The first time that Mojo starts doing like a good luck dance, I was like, ooh, that makes me uncomfy.
Yeah, yeah. On the one hand, I do feel like a lot of teenagers will go through certain seasons of their life where they're interested in this type of thing and they'll test it out, which is fair, but they didn't need to pick that actress to be
The
the one
only
doing it.
non-white character. Exactly. I agree with you completely. Yes. They could have gone with like white girl with her crystals and we would have been like, "Ha, that's hilarious." But they
Yep.
didn't, and I was like, "Ooh, bad choice." Okay.
Yep. I also felt that way about the Russian coach. I was like, you could have
Mhm.
been literally, and I
I
understand there's a
understand. Yeah.
reality. Russians are known for that, but like then get a real Russian actress. Like
Yeah. Or like it's fine to like mess with the stereotype. Isn't it fun to mess with stereotypes? Make him a French coach, make her an Irish coach. Like, you know?
I also feel like she could have just been a realistic character overall. If she had just leaned into the
Yeah,
like really strict Russian coach, it didn't need to be racist. It could have just been like, this is an accurate portrayal of a strict Russian coach. This is
for
how you
sure.
get to the Olympics, like realistically.
Yeah,
And they didn't do that. They tried to make
they
it
did
funny.
not.
And I'm like, why are you trying to make it funny? I'm not scared of her anymore. She's just
Hmm.
odd.
Just odd. Should have fired her, should have hired mom. Anywho, all right, the audience rating 56%. Way higher than I thought it would be.
I think because people loved it so much back in the day, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think I said this last episode, but like this is a movie that I remember people really liking when we were kids. So I'm imagining that these are the same people who are watching it today and reviewing it. If I reviewed
Probably.
this today, I would not have that high of a rating, but good for them.
Yeah.
All right, so some audience quotes that I have pulled. This is a cute movie. I enjoyed it. The dialogue was actually hilarious, and that chanting moment at the end brought me to tears. I feel like they didn't properly address the situation with the little brother, and I feel he definitely deserved a little more attention. But overall, I really love this movie and think it's underrated. So she agrees with us about the little brother. He needs his own movie.
Yes.
Next one. This movie is really good, but I can't decide whether I like it or Ice Princess better.
Ice Princess. That is not even a question.
I knew you would say that. That's why I pulled it. And actually, that was a common theme in like a bunch of the reviews. A bunch of people were like, "This and Ice Princess are so similar. Which one do you like better?"
They are not. They are not similar.
I mean,
You're
they kind of
wrong.
are.
No, they're not. They're completely different movies. Just because they both have ice skating.
I mean, maybe I need to rewatch Ice Princess, but it's just reverse, right? She's a hockey player who needs to figure skate.
No. She
Explain,
like can't
explain.
afford figure skating and then she finally is able to, but she's not good because she's only ever ice skated on her frozen lake and her skates are old cuz they don't have any money and then she has to start at like the baby level with the little butt full of packing peanuts and then she works her way up.
Well, then what movie am I thinking of?
I don't know. And
All right.
I think there's a romance in that that's way better. We should do an episode on Ice Princess because it's so good.
Add that to the list of DCOMs that aren't DCOMs.
Yes.
All right, last one that I think will spark a little mini discussion. This person said, "The guy is smoking hot. Not quite sure why the girl didn't even kiss him at the end. What were you thinking, girlfriend?"
Because he's old.
I know their age difference and like the power dynamic that he's a coach and she's a student on the team. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Why?
Thankfully, she didn't give in to that at all. She held her own very well with Spencer, and I appreciated that.
True. But then second half of the movie, you're like, oh, are they are they dating? Like
Mm, mm,
what
maybe.
what? He's walking
It's
her to
it's ambiguous.
practice?
They like hold hands, but it's kind of in a like, come on, let's go this direction way. And you're like, I'm pretty sure they're holding hands.
Also, I don't know if you noticed this. I had a visceral reaction. So they're driving to the competition after, and he
Uh-huh.
hands her the leotard, and he's like, I don't know if this will work. And she was like, yeah, it's great. We switch back to the competition. And when we go back to the car, she is changed. And I'm like,
Oh.
did they pull over, or did she just change in the car in front of this probably 17-year-old man, and she's 14, and why did this happen? And I was like literally so
No.
uncomfortable.
Oh, for my own sanity, we're going to go with they pulled over and she just quickly changed. Or, like, very least she pulled a Princess Mia and, like, hid in the back and changed back there. But, like, leotard, I'm really hoping they pulled over.
Yeah, anyway, I just had to bring that up because it made me feel a little bit sick. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
children.
Very uncomfortable. As a lady, I would just like to say, if any gentleman sees you trying to put on a leotard in a car, like, there won't be much attraction thereafter. Like, it's It's
That
quite
is
a
a fair point.
process.
Fair point.
No, so we're gonna hope that I don't know if he's 18 yet, but like if he's not, he's about to be 18. We're gonna hope that she stepped out of the vehicle and then her mother had a conversation with her afterwards and was like, "You're going to the Olympics. He's old. This can't happen. You can't date him."
Mhm.
That's
And
what
then
I'm
he
gonna believe.
graduates next year and they never see each other again. That's the hope.
That's the hope. That's what I'm gonna go with. My canon. If I rewrote this movie, he wouldn't be in it.
Well, I actually enjoyed his arc. I just okay, listen. Controversial opinion, but I have been thinking it the whole time. I wasn't going to say it, but now I'm going to say it. I feel like this movie would have been better if everyone was like 17, 18. Like if we
Oh,
aged
I
up
agree.
everyone.
I agree. And actually, on the trivia on IMDb, it says that that's one of the most unrealistic things is that to do this competition for the Olympics, you have to be a minimum of 16 in real life, apparently.
Mm,
And she's only 14. So I agree. They all should have been aged up 100%.
yeah, this romance would have actually been like really cute and fun if they were both the same age. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I did like their chemistry and their dynamic. It was just I couldn't get rid of the ick factor.
Listen, Jake Abel, that actor, I actually love him. I think he's a fantastic actor. And I think that if he looked at me with those eyes, I might melt. So, like, I enjoyed seeing him in this movie. I was just like, I can't get on board with the two of you, you know? Ugh.
Yeah. No, I
Anyway,
agree. It's like I couldn't endorse it. I was like, I like it, but I don't want to like it, so I'm gonna not.
there were too many negatives for me. All
Mm-hmm.
right, Gabriella, where are they now?
Yes, okay, we have some fun ones. So there was a lot of actors in this, and so many of them have gone on to do fun things. So I just selected a few here. Sorry if I didn't pick your favorites.
Did
So
you pick Jake
Jordan,
Abel?
yes, I did, of
Then we're
course.
good.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to start with Jordan Danger, who is our lead, Caitlin. She has continued acting, but not in anything super notable other than playing Zoe Carter in Eureka, a show that ran from 2006 to 2012. However, she has recently started her own skincare company called Ryder Supply Co. They sell quality beef tallow products with ingredients you can pronounce. That's like their tag on Instagram. And as of a month ago, she is a mother of two. She has one little boy who's a toddler and a 1 month old baby girl that she like just had. So cute.
Oh, this is a little bit of a spoiler saying that I also looked her up. Two things. First of all, she like just changed her last name to Danger. That's not her like last name in this movie. Her last name was like
No, it's not.
Stromblin or something like that. Anyway, and secondly, her son's name is Ryder, which is what she named her company after.
Aw, super cute. I love
Yeah.
that. Look her up on Instagram. She has a public Instagram, so yeah. Which actually is a good segue into Ryan Malgarini. Ryan Malgarini. He plays little brother Bradley. So you may have recognized him as Harry, the little brother in Freaky Friday, which came out in
Hmm.
2003, so about 2 years before this. That's actually what he's like most known for everywhere. And as of right now, it's not been announced whether he will return for the sequel Freakier Friday that they're currently in production for, but I'm thinking it's a no cuz they've been in production and there's like nothing on him coming back.
Hmm.
He did go on to be in several other, TV shows and movies. Nothing huge. He was in How to Eat Fried Worms. He was the lead in a movie called The Young Kislowski. I think that's how you say it, which came out in 2014. He also apparently gave an award winning performance in the CBS sitcom Mike and Molly. He won some kind of Best Actor award for that. His Instagram is private, but in his bio, it just says, "I used to act as a kid. Now I just act like one." And I thought that was
Oh,
cute.
that's very cute.
Moving on, we have your favorite, Jake Abel, who played Spencer. So, this was his very first movie, actually, his first work ever.
Wait, really?
Yeah, there's nothing before it on IMDb.
Oh, that's so funny. I did not know that.
Yeah, he has continued acting in many significant roles and some television. I have to note this because, this is a DCOM podcast. He was in one episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is cool. He is Luke in the Percy Jackson franchise.
The old one, not the series, the
The
old
old one.
movies.
Yeah, the movies, The Lightning Thief and Sea of Monsters, where they're all like 18, 19 years old, but they should have been younger. Moving on. He was Adam Milligan in the CW series Supernatural. And his Instagram leads me to believe that he has either done some modeling or he has a really fantastic Instagram wife who takes pictures of him at the house. I couldn't really tell which one it was.
All right, heading to Instagram right now.
Yup, do it. While you do that, according to Wikipedia, he married a writer named Allie Wood in 2013, and they have 2 sons together. And they did unfortunately lose their first son, but now they have
Oh,
2 sons, yeah, that are healthy, as far as I know from Wikipedia. And yeah, that's what he's up to.
wow, he's so pretty.
He is very pretty. I'm guessing he's done some modeling because they're very professional photos.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a nice one.
I love how much you love him.
I do. I think he's a good actor.
Remember that time we discovered the guy who was the love interest in Princess Diaries, and it was like so uncomfortable
Yeah.
on our secret episode that's never been released?
Think about it twice a day.
He was so pretty in that singular photo.
Oh, wow. You know what? You know what, Gabby?
What?
Please insert the clip of that from our unreleased episode where we were testing the podcast format. Please insert that right now.
Hey, this is Gabriella during editing. I also just want to say I'm really sorry about the sound quality in this clip. We were testing out our microphones and I had not yet figured out our correct settings for the podcast, so I'm sorry. Hope you enjoy. All right, I'm going to now show you a picture of what Michael looks like, or at least I don't know when this was taken. It's his IMDb picture, so wow.
I just saw it.
For those of you who can't see what we're looking at, I just want you to picture like the most angelic brunette-haired gentleman in a field in a ball cap.
A muscular man with facial hair and kind of like Ian Somerhalder eyes.
The problem is when you swipe to the right and you see the other picture and it all goes away.
For our listeners, that was an honest reaction. Please go to IMDb and experience what we just experienced. Yeah, I don't love that.
Either direction that you swipe. I understand why he chose. This is like on Tinder when you're like, you pick your best picture, but then you go to Facebook. And this is like what your aunt posted of you at the reunion.
Yeah, I would not recommend that for anybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that because
what a good time.
That episode probably won't see the light of day, but that section deserved to.
It really did. I'm so glad that we found a way. Thank you, Natalie, for giving us the idea to put it in because I think that's some of our best work. What I really want to see is that guy and Chris Pine battle it out exactly like in Into the Woods for Princess Mia.
Chris Pine will crush him.
I know. That's why I want to see it.
Because what's his name? Michael, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a character's name.
He would look at Michael, and Michael would be like, "No, you're good. You got her. You're good. I'll just go over here.
I'm just gonna run in this direction behind
Chris
that
Pine
tree."
would be like, "I am a lord. Fear me."
What is his title? Lord Nicholas.
Something like that. Sure. Are you done with your?
Okay, wait. I'm not done.
Okay.
Brittany Curran. She played Mean Girl Pamela. You know her from everything. Got a favorite early 2000s movie or show? She was in it. Here's a short list. 13 Going on 30, Zack and Cody, Akilah and the Bee, Twisted, Drake and Josh, the list goes on.
I forgot about Akilah and the Bee. That's a great movie.
It is a great movie. And now she normally only has like 1 or 2 episodes that she's in something or she has like a supporting role, but she's in everything. Go look her up. She is still acting, but most notably, I thought this was hilarious. This is not about acting. She has a pet rat that she frequently posts photos of on Instagram, and it's just having all kinds of adventures.
Why is everyone's Instagram so fun this episode?
I don't know, but I was having a great time. Yeah, she seems really fun. That's all I have on her. And then the only other things I wanted to say is there's 2 characters that we are going to be seeing again in the future. Tania Gunati, I think she played Mojo, who we were talking about earlier. We're going to see her again in Pixel Perfect whenever we watch that.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then Paul Kiernan, who was our absolute favorite, Coach Reynolds. We're going to be seeing him again a few more times. He is in Luck of the Irish, Double Teamed, and most recently Cloud 9, which is a movie that has Dove Cameron from Descendants. So we'll be seeing those 2 a couple more times.
That's so funny because I don't recognize him at all, and I've seen most of the movies you just listed.
Yeah, I don't recognize him either, but we're going to see him again 3 more times, so we can look forward to that.
One sentence in his defense. I thought he was funny. I didn't like his character,
yeah.
but I thought he was funny.
Agreed. I agree.
So this movie does not make me want to ice skate or do hockey or any of that. Nothing could convince me to join a team sport. But you know what? I'm glad that Caitlin loves it. And now we just need to watch Ice Princess, apparently, and compare.
Yes, I would love to watch Ice Princess. I don't care that it's not a DCOM, right?
I don't think so.
Darn it. I don't care that it's not a DCOM. I'm putting it on our very long and growing list of DCOMs that are not DCOMs. And I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, we are not watching that next week, but we do need to find out what we are watching next week. So, if you didn't know, Gabby and I have a massive list of every DCOM ever made, and every week we use a random selector to tell us what we will be watching next. Are you ready to find out, Gabby?
I am. I would also just like to note that for a while there, we were using a generator that spun, and that was a good time had by all, but we're not doing that anymore. So if you're wondering why we're not singing along, that's why.
Yeah.
It was a lot to insert things into the spinny generator. So that the sun has set on us singing to the spinny generator.
R.I.P. to the spinny generator. Now we just have choose a number between 1 and 117. All right, are you prepared?
Yes, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping it's one I've either seen or a newer one. I'm ready for something new or nostalgic.
Okay. New or nostalgic. Putting your good vibes into Google now.
Yay.
Okay. Are you I don't know if you've seen this one. I have definitely seen this one.
Oh, what?
We are going to be watching Stuck in the Suburbs.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes. I was like, I don't know if she's seen this
Brenda's song?
Yes.
And
yeah.
Yes, the Read It and Weep girl.
And the redhead and the guy who's on SNL now.
What? Wait, who?
The main guy. He's an SNL actor now. Don't look it up. You're going to ruin the next episode. Put your phone down. Gabriella.
I want to see his picture. I want to see what he looks like.
No, you can't. Cheater.
I'll be surprised when I watch it. Okay, I can't even tell. I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie multiple times, but I don't remember any of it. I'm in a similar place as I was to Halloween Town. Like, I know I've seen it. I know I loved it, but I kind of don't remember anything, which is like a really fun place to be.
I remember everything. I adore this movie. Genuinely think it's so funny and has great soundtrack.
Yes. This is another sports movie, right?
No, not even remotely.
I thought they play soccer.
Yeah, but it's not about that.
It's not? Okay, so clearly I have forgotten a lot. I think the posters have like a soccer ball, so I'm like, a soccer movie.
It's not about soccer.
The only bad thing about this being our next movie is that it's not Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior.
That's how you know it's random, y'all. Gabby didn't choose. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Go watch Stuck in the Suburbs.
See you next week. Bye. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Once Upon a DCOM.
Like what you just heard? Leave us a rating and review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at onceuponadcom.podcast and share this podcast with your Disney-loving friends.
A big thanks to Gabby for editing this whole podcast together.
Thanks, friend. And don't forget to subscribe because there's always a new episode on the way. This is Gabriella.
And Natalie.
Signing off with a sprinkle of pixie dust.
And a whole lot of nostalgia.